What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini to the Samsung Galaxy S3 Original. Now the S3 Mini officially announced today. It's looking good, and in terms of the S3 Original, one of the biggest complaints that I've heard anyway is the size. It's just a bit too big for some people. I've personally been using it for some time now. I've had it, absolutely love it. And in terms of size, it's been okay for me. But I know a lot of people have complained about the size being a bit too big, not really comfortable to use. So obviously Samsung have seen the gap in the market and have created this, the Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini. And since it's been announced, a lot of people have been asking me what's the difference between these two. So I thought I'd run through the specs for you guys and hopefully help you decide which one to go for if you are in that place. So now the first thing to note is that the S3 Mini is not simply just a smaller version of the S3 Original. There is lots of spec differences which I'm going to be going through now. To begin with, the size obviously difference. The S3 Mini is roughly about 50mm smaller in length and about 7mm smaller in width. So that does mean it's going to fit better in the hand. So it's going to be a bit more comfortable to use. One thing to bear in mind is that the S3 Original is slightly thinner, only just slightly, by about a little more than a millimeter, but it is thinner than the S3 Mini. So do bear that in mind. In terms of weight, the Mini comes in at 111.5 grams, whereas the S3 Original is 133 grams. So it is about over 20 grams lighter, so it's going to again feel better in the hand in terms of use. One interesting thing is that the iPhone 5 comes in at 112 grams, so it looks like the S3 Mini has just creeped a fraction underneath it. I don't know if Samsung did this deliberately just to make sure that it's slightly lighter than the iPhone 5, but it's 0.5 of grams of a gram, which is nothing really, but yeah, it's 0.5 of a gram lighter than the iPhone 5. In terms of screen size, the S3 Original 4.8 inches screen. The Mini has a 4-inch screen, so obviously a smaller screen there. A lot of people find that a little bit more practical. It's entirely up to you. Personally, I've not had a problem with the larger screen, as I mentioned. The screen resolution, now both have a Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen with 60 million colors. The difference is that the Mini has a 480 by 800 pixels display. The S3 Original has obviously a 720p screen, so that's 720 by 1280 pixels. The S3 Original also has a 306 ppi pixel density. The Mini has a 233 ppi pixel density. Now that basically means how many pixels are there per inch, and obviously the more pixels there are, the more sharper and crisper the image is going to be on screen. So the S3 Original is going to give you a better image on screen as well, so do bear that in mind. In terms of the processor, the S3 Original obviously 1.4 gigahertz quad core processor. The Mini only has a dual core 1 gigahertz processor. So now obviously in terms of performance you'd have to try it out, but on paper the S3 Original has a much faster processor. Now in my experience of using it, it is crazy fast. I mean, I've never had any issues in terms of performance and speed. It's been absolutely great. It'll be interesting to see what the S3 Mini does in terms of performance, because I believe the S2 was about 1.2 gigahertz dual core, so that's interesting there. So it's not going to be as fast. Internal memory, the Mini has either 8 gig or 16 gig. The S3 Original 16, 32 or 64 gig. So obviously you've got more options on the S3 Original, and also it starts off at higher memory, which is going to be 16 gig. Card slots, both have micro SD card slots, and the Mini is going to allow a maximum of 32 gigabytes micro SD, and the S3 Original is 64 gigabytes. So we've got expandable storage almost double on the S3 Original. In terms of RAM, both have 1 gigabyte of RAM, so not a huge difference there. Camera, the S3 Mini has a 5 megapixel camera. The S3 Original has 8 megapixels, so you're going to get a better quality camera there. And in video, the S3 Mini can only do 720p at 30 frames a second as a maximum. The S3 Original 1080p at 30 frames a second. So I don't know how important that is to many people out there. For me, I do like my video to be 1080p when I'm filming on the S3. So again, it's entirely up to you there. The front-facing camera, the Mini only has a VGA camera, so the front-facing camera is just going to give you standard quality. The S3 has a 1.9 megapixel camera front-facing, and it's going to give you 720p at 30 frames a second as well. So again, a better quality camera, front-facing camera as well. That's going to give you better quality for video calls, etc. In terms of the operating system, both are obviously on Android. But the S3 Mini is obviously going to come with Jelly Bean 4.1 out of the box. And now the Samsung Galaxy S3 Original, which I have as well, I'm still waiting for the Jelly Bean update, which is pretty annoying because it's been around for some time now. So obviously you're going to wait till Samsung actually gets that through. But the S3 Mini is going to come with that out of the box, so that's an advantage. In terms of the battery life, the S3 Mini has a 1500 mAh battery. The S3 Original has a 2100 mAh battery, so obviously a bigger battery on the S3 Original. However, the one thing to bear in mind is that the S3 Mini is not, the processor isn't as demanding as the S3 Original, so you may actually get a decent performance on the battery life. The S3 Original, which I have, I love the battery life on it. I think it's absolutely fine. It does give me a good bit of usage out of the phone before I need to charge again. So hopefully the S3, but obviously in terms of performance, we'd have to try it out in hand. Price, not fully confirmed, but we're looking at around about £300 for the S3 Mini in the UK, or between $350 to $430, I believe, in US. And the S3 Original currently is going for about £430, or I think it's going to be about $600 roughly in the US. So roughly speaking, 25% cheaper. The S3 Mini SIM-free is going to be 30% cheaper. Contracts obviously vary, so you're going to get a bit more of a budget phone. Still slightly obviously on the higher end, but it's going to be a cheaper phone for you, bearing in mind that the specs have been cut down. To summarize, those were some of the key features, and I think the most important thing to take away here is it's not a smaller version. The S3 Mini is just not a smaller version of the S3 Original. Some of the specs have been cut down, so it's a more compact version, but it's also slightly lower in terms of the specs as well. Now, I know it will appeal to some. I think that market is there of a lot of people who wanted to go for the S3 Original, but thought it was a bit too big. I think a lot of females especially don't like that huge size phone, and they want something a bit more compact. And obviously a lot of other people who want that compact size and don't really like having such a large screen. So I think it is going to appeal to quite a few people. What are your views on it? Let me know. Drop me a comment below. Would you go for it? And if I do get hold of one, I will do a full review and I'll do a proper comparison with my current S3 as well as the S3 Mini. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out. And do subscribe to the channel as well. I really appreciate it. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.